listening to the PODI-Cast.
Welcome back, everyone, to the PODI-Cast. We're here with myself, Christy, and our guest today, Brodie Shaw, from coming in all the way from Calgary.
Yo, what's up, everybody?
Thanks for coming on, Brodie.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks.
How you doing?
I'm doing great. I just went back to work after a 6-month break, so I'm in a bit of a transition period. Kind of trying to figure out like a new schedule and everything, but it's good to like talk to people again in person, like just strangers interacting, being friendly. It's nice.
Right.
It feels good.
Yeah, it's a good feeling to see
Yeah.
people again. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you come out of hibernation a little bit and be like,
Yeah.
people.
Totally.
Not just digital people.
Right?
Yeah, this weekend the roads were really heavy. I just live out of town, Brodie, and it's cottage country, and the roads were packed, and I'm just like, oh, it's Friday, right? Yeah, everyone's
yeah.
coming out to cottage country. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I've noticed that most people I've talked to, I've only had like one or two people that have been grumpy, but most people I think are in the same boat. They're just stoked
Cool.
to be back out in public, being able to just converse with people face to face, which is good. So hopefully all the rude people don't come to my work.
Have you been training during the lockdown as well?
So I haven't really been training. It's been kind of a weird period in my parkour career for me, I guess, because I went from working at a parkour gym to working at a trampoline gym. So I started training there a lot more. So my like on concrete skills started going downhill a little bit. So my air awareness started going up a bit. But I was also at kind of a point where I was getting really bad knee pain because I slowly found out that when I do jumps, it's all just with my thigh muscles, like none of my glute muscles at all. So there's no
Right.
balance there. So it just tugs on my knees really badly. So I kind of stopped doing as much, like, I guess, pure parkour and started doing just more trampoline stuff. And then through quarantine, I haven't really been doing any training. I've been skateboarding a little bit, but
Yeah, I saw
I'm
that.
at a point where I want to get back into parkour, but I have to relearn how to jump using the proper muscles so I don't get this knee pain, right?
Right.
You know what? That's funny you say that because Tom and I just got the knees over toes program, and we put it up
Okay.
to our athletes because
Have you heard about
I haven't. What is that?
Ben.
You haven't yet? Okay, this is gonna
No,
change your
you
life,
gotta
Brodie.
go.
I'm so
Oh,
excited now.
Okay, do you want to take it? Do you want to explain it, Tom?
Sure. I'm like, I was just talking about this earlier actually today, but this guy, you have to look him up on Instagram or YouTube. This knees over toes guy. That's literally his name, knees over toes guy.
Yeah.
Writing this down.
Ben.
Yeah.
Ben something.
Yeah, Ben Patrick.
Patrick, there you go. Yeah.
This dude is terrible. He had terrible knees, like I think a torn ACL and a fake. He had like partial knee replacement.
Oh, wow.
Dude had messed up knees, but
Okay.
he's just went hard on researching it and found these exercises to do, and he can jump on concrete like he's on trampoline.
It's nuts.
Wow.
It's
Yeah.
wild.
No,
Gosh.
that's the expression. What you just did there was the expression that people get when you see this. Like, I just started to do backwards walking today for 10 minutes. Like, that's so hard.
Yeah,
But
no doubt.
and then I did the I can't pronounce the next movement, but it's you put your butt up against the wall and then you kind of put your feet on the ground and like fully extended
the
legs.
Tib raises.
Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, they
Yeah.
call it, that's the abbreviated. Yeah, the
The
tib raise.
tibialis raise, yeah.
There you go. Yeah, tibialis. And then I do those and I'm just like, really? Like 2 sets of 15? Like, wow.
Yeah.
It just ignites different muscles or and you know just I know because I come from a bodybuilding soccer background, but like this simple movement, I was like called Tom or text Tom on the third day. I was just doing the ones on Instagram. I'm like, my quads are like killing at the tendon, and like it's a good like actually building muscle.
Nice.
So we invested in the
Okay.
program.
That
Yeah.
sounds
I
awesome.
know,
Oh my
like,
gosh.
I mean, I think we're pretty close in age here, and we've been probably training for around similar lengths. So definitely at that point too, I'm like, I gotta really start making
Yeah.
sure my knees are
Right.
good, right? So
Definitely.
there's actually Tyrion that I think first mentioned this guy
I
to me
think you're
because
right.
he's doing it.
Okay.
But man, it's personally, I think it's helped me a lot. I've only been doing it for like a few months now,
Mhm.
but you gotta check it out.
Yeah,
Anyone
I'll
listening
definitely
to
look
this
into
should
that.
check it out.
Mhm.
That sounds
Agreed.
awesome.
Mhm.
Because yeah, I'm definitely like, even just the last maybe like 3-ish years, I've noticed like I can feel like, not that I'm that old, but like I can
Yeah.
feel the difference now from when I was younger, for sure. Like even just from being in like my early 20s to now like getting closer to my late 20s, it's like I really gotta do this properly if I want to get back into it and
Mhm.
be able to keep doing it.
Hmm.
It's true.
Yeah.
That's the thing with aging in parkour. Hey, you
Yeah.
just have to give everything more thought now.
Right.
What
And
do you
it's just
do?
like, sorry,
Go ahead. No,
I was
no,
just
go
gonna say
for
it's
it.
just like my original teacher said. He's like, you better stretch, or you're gonna regret it. And I was like, I won't regret it.
Yeah.
I
Here
don't know
you
if I
are.
fully
thinking
regret
about
it, but like maybe I could have done a little more stretching.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's like good to go and like just how you are too. Like you're not gonna stretch before like something might happen. You're just gonna go into it. But what do you do for injuries, Brody? Like, do you have a massage therapist? Do you go to like a chiropractor or a naturopath, or do you just like what's your method?
So typically, if I do get injured, I do have a chiropractor that I go to every month.
Yeah.
So I'll typically kind of ask him what the right thing to do is. And I've done like acupuncture in the past, and I have gone to see my naturopath. I don't think specifically about injuries.
Hmm.
But I honestly like I haven't had too many really bad injuries.
Good.
Like I don't think I've had anything that was like bad, like broken
Mhm.
limbs or anything, but I've had small injuries that ended up taking up a long time to heal.
Right.
So like I overextended my shoulder and I inflamed a tiny little tendon that holds another tendon down.
Hmm.
That was all that was injured, but it made it so I couldn't lift my arm any higher than like 90 degrees for like 6 months because
Wow.
it was just super inflamed. So I did some acupuncture for that and I got a bit of chiropractor work done on it just to like help the area out because it wasn't moving as much. And that one took like a year to heal.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Wow.
But it was such a tiny, insignificant little
Yeah.
muscle that just
Yeah.
was really pissed off, I guess.
That's all it takes for the
That's
body
all
to
it
fall
takes.
apart. Hey.
Right?
One little thing and
Yeah.
cascading effect.
That's it.
So, you haven't been training much parkour then. Have you been doing like other cross training? Are you one for doing weightlifting or calisthenics
Mm.
to complement parkour training, or are you more parkour to do parkour to?
Yeah. So parkour is kind of my main like exercise, I guess. I'm
Yeah.
just so unmotivated when it comes to anything that's like, I guess, linear.
Mm-hmm.
So like just lifting weights bores the hell out of me. And just
Yeah.
running, I'm like, this is so boring. So that's not very
Yeah.
exciting. But I have actually
Yeah.
started exploring skateboarding again recently. So I
Mhm.
initially like
Right,
started skateboarding. I would skateboard like every day, all summer long. And I did that for a few years until I learned about parkour and switched over to that. So it's been interesting going back to
Huh.
skateboarding and like
Yeah.
trying to remember how to do all these more or less insignificant movements when it comes to the grand scheme of skateboarding. Like if you
Yeah.
think about it, an ollie in itself, compared to everything else in skateboarding, is super simple.
The
Yeah.
But to
basic of the
me, it's
basic.
like this is this crazy thing I can do. I can ollie up onto a ledge that's 3 inches high. That's amazing.
Mhm.
That's
So it's
solid
really
though.
cool being back at a point where like I'm a beginner at something, and every little accomplishment is cool. Because I found it got to a point in parkour where it was like, oh well, I can't do a double side flip, I'm not progressing enough, you know. Like that might be a bit of an
Yeah.
extreme example, but like everything just starts getting bigger and bigger and
Right.
bigger to
Yeah.
a point where it's harder to reach those bigger goals,
Yeah.
right? But right now skateboarding, I can do the tiniest thing and I can do 10 tiny different things every day, and I'm like, yes, I'm
Right.
progressing so much, this is awesome.
Yeah.
So it's giving me a different, I guess, perspective on learning something that I haven't had in a long time. And
Yeah.
I'm excited to kind of translate that into relearning, I guess, and getting comfortable with parkour again because it's been so long.
Yeah, it starts like, I don't know, it gets your like mindset in a different space, hey?
Mhm.
You start approaching things differently. I think that's pretty common too for like longer, at least people we've talked to on here that have been training a bit longer, they'll get into like rock climbing or
Mhm.
skateboarding to have that sense of like more rapid progression.
Totally. Yeah, because when
Yeah.
you first start parkour, like maybe not for everybody, but I know for me and like my friends that I started with, like we were learning things like super fast. And it
Yeah.
feels good to be able to learn something new and then put it in a line and then learn another thing new and put it in a line. And that just like goes away after a while. Like you hit that plateau.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Sure.
having that different
Yeah.
perspective is really, really refreshing.
Mm. I can see that. Yeah, I see a lot of parkour enthusiasts, parkour people.
Yeah, we're gonna start changing the vocabulary now.
Yeah.
Get rid of tracers, right? It's parkourists.
Parkour.
It's,
Perfect.
That's the thing,
it sounds
right?
like a stutter. Um,
Parkourers.
parkour eyes. Anyway, parkour people. Do like use skateboarding to transition to one spot to another, and it's kind of cool because it's either skateboarding and you can pull off some tricks and do some rails on the way, look really cool.
Totally.
Also doing parkour, but some people use longboards as well, which is still a board, but like, I love it. I like a longboard because I'm older and I just don't want to do a trick anymore on a skateboard.
Yeah, fair.
You know what I mean?
Fair.
But when I was younger, like, yeah, that's all I wanted to do. But I agree with riding boards to place to place. Yeah,
Oh, it's super handy.
especially in Calgary, like you see a lot of people.
Yeah. Yeah,
What
because
do you ride?
we have like a lot of fairly decent spots here, but we don't have any like single spots that have everything. We had the one Century Gardens, but they've been doing construction on that for the last like 2 years. So having a board, being able to like board back and forth from little spots downtown definitely helps a lot. Because sometimes it's like a 10-block walk from one spot to another. By the time you get there, you're
Right.
like, ah, man, I'm tired. Should we end the jam?
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
That's true.
yeah.
Yeah, that was going out I guess, geez, what was that, 2 summers ago now? When
Yeah.
everyone, all the Winnipeg people and stuff were out at Calgary there.
Yeah. Was that for Dupe Jam?
Yeah.
That had been the last Dupe Jam we did?
Yeah,
Oh
they
my
went Duke
gosh.
Jam the summer before the world changed.
Yeah. My goodness. Because yeah, we had to cancel last summer.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we won't be doing it this summer.
No.
And then we're all moving to Vancouver. So
Yeah.
they've got Origins there, and I think
Yeah.
Dupe Jam is over forever,
Oh wow.
which is crazy.
Is
Man.
Origins open?
I think they are. I think they've actually been open for most of it.
Good for them.
I'm not sure exactly what the deal is with like closures and stuff in Vancouver, but I think they found ways around things that their government was okay with. So they're able to stay open. Like I think that at one point they had different sections of the gym taped off, and it was like one person per section kind of deal. And you booked your time,
Nice.
you trained in your section, and then went home,
Could
which
you
was
imagine?
super smart.
No doubt.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
Yeah, because yeah, I can't imagine it's
Yeah.
got to be hard trying to keep a parkour gym open during
Yeah.
coronavirus. Like,
I mean, with how many have had to shut down, mostly in the States, but
yeah. Well,
there's
even
some major closures.
here we have Breathe Parkour, and our Breathe Parkour South location
Yeah.
had to shut down completely, which sucks because that was a fantastic gym. It was a
That's
very
so
cool
sad.
space.
I really like that one.
But luckily, we are now able to put more focus into the North location. So they're doing a lot of cool expansions and builds there and stuff. And I think personally, like, in my opinion, for the parkour community in Calgary, having both the gyms kind of divided everybody. We would all always meet at the North Gym. We would train at the North Gym. It was the only gym. And as soon as another one opened, half the people went there, half the people went to North.
Yeah.
And
Right.
it was like it halved the community, right?
Oh no.
Just
But now
split.
that there's only one location left, I feel like it'll be good for like kind of bringing the community back together to train like under one roof again.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I guess, yeah, that's interesting. And I think that's probably the only city that has multiple parkour gyms, right? Like
Yeah.
Toronto, like Monkey Vault's only ever been one location.
Mhm.
hmm
I guess Origins has two, but theirs is in a different city, right? Or is
It's
that a
something
part of
like that.
Vancouver? I
It's
don't
it's on
know.
like the outer edge of Vancouver, I think. And I don't know if it's necessarily a full gym. It's more like just a little space with some more stuff. I've never actually seen it in person, so I don't know how big it is.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
it almost feels like Origins is the main location, and then there's just like a cool spot they can go to train rather
Right.
than a whole nother
A whole
facility.
separate. Right.
Yeah.
So you mentioned you're moving to Vancouver.
Yes. Which is
Tell us about that.
it's the scariest thing I'm ever gonna do in my life. But we've got Josh and Jovi right now. So Podi, there's 7 of us. Josh and Jovi have been there for a few years. And then Jay and Rare both have been planning to move there for a long time.
Oh,
And
good.
I've always been kind of interested in it, but it's at the point where like if I don't go with them, it's just me and Ben back here in Calgary. And like if
Right.
we want to do Podi and like be successful, I gotta be with Podi, right?
Yeah.
I can't
Yeah.
be trying to do a solo man operation back here in Calgary while everyone else is in Vancouver.
Yeah.
So it's kind of just like a leap of faith, I guess. We're gonna pack up kind of end of October and we're just gonna go and we're gonna make it happen. See how it goes. And I mean, worst case scenario, I gotta come back home and live in Calgary again. But
Yeah, whatever.
I think it'll be
That's-
a
yeah.
good opportunity
Mhm.
to grow, not just for the team, but even just for myself. Just, as an
Yeah.
adult, doing
Yeah.
something big, moving to another city.
Just to have different structures and different places to go and other
Totally.
people to like feed off of too,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Different
Yeah,
environment.
you're gonna
right?
love it.
Yeah.
You're gonna love it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm scared.
Yeah.
It's all hell, but I'm excited.
Is it like, are you guys gonna be pursuing something like, since you're parkour guys, doing some like stunt type stuff or getting into like acting things since you're gonna be in Vancouver? Is that part of the
Potentially.
process?
So Jay already works in film, and
Right.
I've done a bit of work in film before. He's a special effects technician, and I've done
Awesome.
just like some like set decoration and stuff. So we're probably gonna end up working in film in Vancouver because it's pretty booming there. I don't
Yeah.
know if we'll end up doing like stunting stuff per se, but I
Right.
was thinking potentially like getting into maybe like background acting, just like
Yeah.
part time on the side. I've got a friend there that does that right now, and he loves it. Be like, that would just be an interesting side gig. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something fun to do.
Right on.
Yeah,
That'd be wicked. That's super fun being on a set, right? Like
totally.
you just gotta see the magic happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I hope you're successful with that. That'd be awesome
Yeah.
to see.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it for sure.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And October is a good time, right? You will skip out on winter basically.
yeah.
See, I've been nervous about it. Like, I really like being comfortable. So thinking about things that are outside of my comfort zone really stresses me out.
Yeah.
And there was a couple nights there where like I'd be laying in bed, I start thinking of Vancouver, and I get super stressed. I'm like, oh man, I'm so scared. But a week ago, I think I saw a picture of a highway in Alberta in the middle of winter, and that was the first time that I felt like really excited about going. I was like, I never have to deal with these Albertan winters ever again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be amazing. Because it gets pretty awful in the winter sometimes.
Oh, I feel you. Yeah.
No stranger to
Yeah,
us.
we know.
That, right?
Yeah, we just popped out of winter last month.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. That'll be exciting to see what you guys get up
No
to
doubt.
out there.
Yeah, I'm very excited about it. And it'll be a good opportunity for us to push really hard on PODI, I guess, because we've been a little behind on things, I guess, just with, being in quarantine and not being able to see each other and not being able to like make content.
Yeah.
So good opportunity to really push back and get it going again.
Yeah, so actually let's talk about that. We were before the podcast talking about it a bit, about your podcast you're doing with the PodiBoys, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we started a podcast over the break because we were lacking content. We're kind of in a weird spot with Podi where a lot of us are starting to lean a little bit away from parkour. and pursuing different things. Like me and Jay do our like streaming. Josh is starting to work on or has been working on like acting and like a voice acting career. Jovi is like a digital artist now. Um, so we're working on evolving Podi into more of like a creative collective where like
Right.
parkour is part of that creativity and it's always like an inspiration and an influence. But it isn't necessarily the main only thing we do.
Right.
Um, so the PODI-Cast we thought was a great opportunity to kind of branch out and do something a little different. We also figured PODI-Cast was a great name for it. Kind of worked out pretty well.
Yeah.
So yeah, we started that. I think we just did episode 4 yesterday. We just do
Nice.
it every second week, and we basically just think of topics that we think would be interesting for us to talk. I feel like we have a pretty unique dynamic just with 7 of us, and we each
Mhm.
have pretty different like senses of humor, but it all meshes well together. So we can really end up talking about anything, and personally, I think it's pretty entertaining.
Yeah, I watched a couple clips on your Instagram, and
Yeah.
yeah, it is entertaining for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. I never knew what a glizzy was before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's fun making those clips too, because that's something I do on the side is I started really over quarantine pushing my like YouTube channel. So I just like make like gaming content, and I've been working really hard on kind of perfecting how to make like a TikTok and just that
Right.
like vertical format and like having the subtitles pop in. So when we started doing the PodiCast, I'm like, this is perfect. I already kind of know how to do this, so I can just apply what I know and put out these clips, and they've actually been doing pretty good so far, which is awesome.
Oh,
That Glizzy clip has definitely been a fan favorite.
Good, right on.
I'll
Do you
have
call
to
your
download TikTok just for
Yeah.
that.
Don't worry, they're on Instagram as well.
Okay.
do you call your fans anything like
Kind of.
what is it?
We call them poders,
Footers?
which was like
I love
from
it.
literally everything Podi does comes from a joke. So
Okay.
there's one of our videos. We were in Missoula, Montana, and I was doing like a transition little outro thing, and Jovi in the background walks up and is like, "Hey, what's up, poders?" And we all just broke out laughing. So literally from that moment, we're like, "Yeah, they're poders. That's what we're calling them."
Powder.
I love it. That's great.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's I guess for PodiBoys, that's the current project. You guys have, I mean, October's still a little whiles away. Do you have any other projects with the group coming up? Any secret things you can share?
Ooh. Sorta. We are in a transition period with our website, so we're switching to a different, I guess, store provider. So we're going to be able to do a lot more things with that. So we have a lot of like uh, clothing ideas and stuff that we want to do now that we'll be able to with Shopify.
Right. Yeah.
And we also want to try and find some places to do another one of our Lost Boys episodes, which is kind of our adventure series.
Right.
Since we are all kind of leading away from parkour a little bit, it's harder to do those like hard hitting parkour edits, right?
Mhm.
But the adventure stuff, we can sprinkle a little bit of that in, do a little more like cinematography, and have it more of that urbex side of thing, which we like to do.
Right.
It's just hard to find places in Alberta. Like there's tons of abandoned stuff, but it's all like really spread out and not super well documented. So we got to look into that, but we do definitely want to work on some more Lost Boys episodes for sure.
Oh, right on.
Nice. Wicked. Well, are you okay with backtracking? We're gonna move back in time here. Talk about your origins here.
That origin story.
Let's bring it back here to the start.
Back in time.
So, let's go early here, before
Okay.
parkour.
Okay.
Well, I guess you mentioned you were into skateboarding, but
Yes.
were you into other sports before that?
So I had always hated team sports. I did not like playing on a team. It bored me. I was always kind of a solo artist, I guess. I remember my mom telling me stories when I was playing soccer as like a little kid, and they put me in goal the one day. And by the time the other team got over to the goal, I was gone. And I looked, and I was over on the playground climbing around.
That's great.
So like from the very beginning, like it was meant to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
So other than that, I didn't play like any sports really. I did a bit of track and field in junior high, which was jumping.
Yeah.
And then I played football in grade 10, which was the most team-centric sport that I actually ever played. I did that for a year. It was fine. I didn't like the coaches yelling. I thought there was no point to them yelling at us. And then I
Yeah.
started parkour, pretty much.
So you would have been grade 10, you said? Grade 11 when you started?
It was 2010, I think, July 1st. I always remember by the day that I like signed my waiver at
Oh, that's
the like
great.
original parkour gym that was here. So that's what I go by.
Oh man.
Yeah, so it was the summer after grade 10.
Wow.
Mhm.
So what was it that like got you into parkour? How did you hear about it?
So it's the craziest story ever. I saw a YouTube video. That's
What?
the whole story. There was this video of this Asian dude in a white shirt and a red tie, I believe. And at the start of the video, he rips the tie off, does this crazy flying dragon jump off a roof, and does all these like
I know
super
which one.
old school style parkour moves, like in a mall and all this stuff. And
Yep.
me and
Yeah.
Rare, actually, who was on Podi, saw that video. We're like, that's cool. We should do parkour. And then we Googled it. We found a parkour gym and decided to play football that year in grade 10. And after that, went and tried out parkour at the gym.
Wow.
Yeah.
The EMC monkeys are responsible for a lot of people getting into parkour.
Yeah.
That's great.
Right.
Wow. So okay, that's I mean, I guess pretty standard at the time. Find a
Right?
YouTube video.
Totally. I love when I don't know if you guys call them muggles, but
Yeah.
we
Yeah,
call
yeah.
them muggles. Yeah. People that don't do parkour, when they ask like, "Oh, well, how'd you get into parkour?" I'm like, I saw a YouTube video. And they're like,
Yeah.
"That's it?" Like, yeah.
Yeah.
It looked cool.
I was on a mythical adventure and I
Right?
found out what parkour was.
They expect some crazy story. It's like, no, I just saw a cool video. That's all.
Yeah, I mean that's all it comes down to.
Right?
It does actually for most of our people that we had on.
I guess yeah. 2010 too, that's like a few years like Jump London, Jump Britain would have already been out for a while. Were those did you watch those like when you started? Was that something that
I didn't
you got
actually.
into? Oh no?
I think the first big parkour video I saw was probably that Storm Volume 1.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I don't know what that was. I think that was like 2013, honestly.
I think it was it would have been a few years later.
But I don't think
2010's
like
early.
I don't think we realized really at that point how much parkour was actually going on around the world. Because we saw that one video, we're like, okay, that's cool. And then we went to our like tiny little local gym. It was called No Limits at the time. It was like maybe 20 feet across by 40 feet deep. Like it was tiny. Made enough room for maybe like 5 people to comfortably train in there.
Yeah.
And that was just kind of our whole parkour world for a while. Until we started like finding the teams like Storm and like Farang was a huge influence
Right.
when we were starting. That was probably in like 2013, 2014, I think. Back when like they added Pasha to the team and he had Pasha the Boss video and all this crazy stuff, and we're like, that's so cool. We got to do that too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So do you do parkour like is it like your profession, or you want to just do it for a hobby? Do you consider it like your sport? Like, do you tell your friends who muggle friends are like, oh yeah, what do you do? Oh yeah, I'm just gonna go do some parkour for about 5 hours. And they're like, okay, like, or is it like, what's parkour for you?
It's definitely from a training standpoint a hobby.
Yeah.
But it's always going to be like a huge part of my life. Like I will
Agreed.
always be involved with the parkour community.
Mhm.
Like I said, like parkour is a huge influence for Podi as like a brand. Kind of like how like a lot of brands are influenced by like skateboarding and stuff. Parkour is that for us. And we also just like have met so many cool people through parkour.
No doubt.
Like and like everybody in parkour is in that same boat. Like all of my friends, for the most part, either started doing parkour with me or I've met through parkour. It will always be a huge part of my life. But for a training standpoint, I don't think I'll ever hit pro level, and I don't necessarily want to. I want to get to a point where it's just enjoyable to do. I'm not too worried about having to do all these crazy big tricks and make all these crazy pro videos and anything like that. I just want it to be a fun, influential thing in my life.
Yeah, that's where I'm
Yeah.
at. That's exactly where I'm at. It's like my moves aren't that big or grand, but I like the flow of them. I just like moving in a parkour style. It's just so
Right?
fun.
Yeah.
Like I wish I would have found it at 15. Like, oh,
Right?
I feel so ripped off almost.
Yeah, there's definitely a while there where I kind of lost the fun aspect of it.
Oh, okay.
It was probably a little closer to when COVID started, maybe like a year or so before, and it was just like we were all getting pretty good, and we were all getting to that big plateau. But it was more frustrating to be at that plateau than it was like, oh, this is just a healthy challenge.
Right.
And then I started getting like the knee problems, and I couldn't do my side flips as well anymore, and I stopped
Right.
working at the parkour gym, and it was just like I was mad that I wasn't progressing. Like
Yeah.
that's not how it should be. Like, sure, my training isn't as high quality, I guess, as I wanted it to be, but I really lost that fun aspect for a while. And I want to make sure that I get that back when I do get back into training consistently with parkour.
Yeah. It's really like easy to set these like expectations for yourself, especially when watching, social media all the time, right? You see so many big clips and it's like, well, I should be able to do this.
Totally.
But then you can't, and you maybe get upset with yourself.
It's so
Even-
true.
Even just
But-
comparing myself to older clips of myself. Like
Yeah.
my personal record for side flips in a row is 19. Which
Good
is
for you.
wild. I'll never be able to do that again. I was only able to do it once. But now even like one side flip is tricky. So
Right.
now I
Yeah.
know, like, I'm like, that's fine. It's okay. It's okay that
Yeah.
it's tricky. But there's a point where I was like, man, I'm not as comfortable with this stuff anymore. My brain's
Yeah.
telling me that it's scary. This isn't right.
Yeah.
It wasn't scary a year or two ago. So why is it scary now? And I was just beating myself up about it. Like, that's not the way to go about it. It's just things change, you know?
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah.
I think, yeah, and you definitely get like a different level of mastery though when you're a little younger and you can kind of like do things without thinking about it too much.
Yeah.
But then you get older and like, well, I gotta really figure this out again. But then once you do, it's like it's set.
Totally. Yeah.
Just a different mindset.
It's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then having your knees start to hurt too.
It's not
really
really
good.
fun.
Yeah.
Who wants to
No.
feel that?
Definitely got to fix that one.
A few more months, you'll start doing knees over toes, and we'll be back
Yes,
to
I
the
wanna
20,
definitely
You're
20
gonna
side
love it.
flips.
I swear.
Oh yeah.
I'm just rubbing my knees right now as we're talking. I'm like, yes, knees. I love you.
Oh man.
What are you? Oh, go ahead, Tom.
I was gonna go into the aspect of like what kept you training throughout the years of,
Oh.
Since plateaus can hit. Like I know for a bit for me was definitely like the social aspect, but I don't know what kept you motivated.
Yeah, definitely. There's just the social aspect. Like you all know the feeling like going to a jam, even if you're like, I don't really feel like training today. But then you get there and you see people doing cool things, all your buddies are there,
Yeah.
and you just can't help but want to join in.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm definitely like by no means a solo trainer. Like going on to train on my own is very difficult for me. I might like want to and like get out there, but then I'm like so unmotivated. So it's like very much like a social sport for me.
Mhm.
I love that community aspect of it. And yeah, just seeing other people train makes me want to train.
Yeah, I feel that when there's a jam out there. Totally feel that aspect.
Right.
Yeah, I guess PodiBoys too. Like you guys have been a group for a while, right?
Yeah.
Like how many years has it been?
Well, Podi was started in 2015. But
Wow,
before
okay.
that, we were called Urban Wolf Pack, which is
Okay,
there's-
cool.
Sick, yeah.
But we started that in like probably 2013, I think.
Mm,
I've been training with like the same dudes for years.
Crazy, eh?
solid.
That helps. Does that help you keep the progression going then? Like, is it?
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. When I see them doing other stuff, it makes me want to get better as well, right? Like with here, like I said, I've been training a lot less and Rare's been training a lot less, and we see Josh and Jovi in Vancouver still going ham at it. They just actually released an edit from some of the clips from last summer, and some of the stuff they're doing is nuts.
Yeah.
But I see that, and I'm like, man, I want to get out there and I want to train again. I want to train with these guys. And it's like, like watching like a Modus video or something gets me stoked as well. But when I see that it's my buddies doing it, I don't know, there's just something special about it that I'm like, yes, I want to do that too.
Yeah, it's still there. I don't think that passion will ever leave. A
Yeah.
parkourist?
Yeah.
Parkourists.
That's like it's a funny thing, hey, that it's such a individualized activity or sport, whatever you want to call parkour, but it does almost have a team aspect
Yeah, it does.
of that. Like you're not relying so much like in soccer or something where you need someone to pass you the ball, but this just like having that team around helps so much, especially when it's someone around your own skill level.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, just being able to teach each other and learn from each other.
Yeah.
And even outside of parkour, like just seeing Jovi work on his content creation makes me want to work on my content creation. Like it's just seeing each other working on things makes you want to catch up, I guess, almost. And you want to work hard with them, right?
Yeah. It's like someone doing your own thing. You want to do other things with them and then just get to know them better just besides the one thing that you do with each other. You know what I mean? Like, so it's parkour. So now you're going to do other things. Like you're going to move into a house probably with all your good buddies.
Yeah.
And, like then there's that weird content, right?
Yeah.
Oh man, I can't even imagine what kind of weird shit's gonna happen there.
Oh boy, yeah. I don't know. I don't know if you guys have seen the green screen skits that we made with Josh and Jovi. We did one. It was a commercial for Empire Parkour's ankle thing line they did.
Yes.
Oh no.
Yeah.
And so
That's
Josh and
great.
Jovi edited or took footage of them on their green screen and then sent it over to me to edit. So like we're gonna be doing stuff like that all the time when I'm actually there and I can go over with them and like plan this stuff
Oh my
with them.
god.
Oh, it's gonna be wild.
That's got to be one of the best parkour commercials.
Oh,
I'll
yeah.
say it. Best parkour commercials today.
I'm so proud of that one. We've actually for a long time, like back when we were Urban Wolfpack, we always had the thought of like it'd be so fun to have like a Pody House series where if we all lived together, we just like filmed the crazy shit we got up to, which like that could potentially become a reality at this point. It depends on if like all five of us that are going to be there move together, or if just three of us are together. Depends on what we end up actually finding there for housing.
Yeah. Not always an easy task in Vancouver.
Mm-hmm.
You can score sometimes, but there's a whole bunch of housemates in Vancouver housing. Like it's different than what we know of. It's actually kind of cool. It's really communal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Totally.
You were gonna ask a question before, Christy, before I cut you off. So
no, it wasn't a cutoff at all. I don't remember, to tell you the truth.
Oh.
Yeah. But speaking about movies, what is your favorite movie?
My favorite movie?
I
would have to say Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Oh, that's such a good movie.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, I love it. It's just silly. It was pretty influential on me as a kid. It's just the first one that pops in my head anytime I ask that question. So that is it. It's my favorite movie.
Oh, that's great. It's one of my classic movies too.
It's so good.
I love the vegan part. I'm like, yeah, that's totally so vegan. I'm plant-based vegan, whatever the label is, but I just love it that there is a slight jab in the movie.
Yeah.
Especially with coffee, like that's my thing. Like,
no vegan diet, no vegan powders. Yeah, it's so good.
But that whole movie is solid too. Like even the effects and
Yeah, the action, especially if it's an older movie now, action holds up so well.
Right?
It does. Yeah.
Like,
totally.
You go back to some older ones, like, compared to the stuff today,
so good.
not so good, but that one holds up real well.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm gonna watch that this
classic
week.
tricking in there.
Yeah, I want to watch that now too. Oh.
All right, let's do a split screen. Let's put it on.
Yeah, let's go. All right, we're gonna turn this stream here of.
Here's the rest of the podcast is just you guys listening to us watch a movie.
Commentary. Scott. That'd be fun. Oh jeez. I'm glad I asked.
Yeah, it was a good question.
That's gonna have to be a regular question. We're gonna have to add that in
Totally.
there.
Just throw it in there out of nowhere. What's your favorite movie?
Speaking of movies,
It's The Matrix. It's The Matrix for sure.
yeah, always
Yeah.
everyone. What is your favorite parkour short film or video or?
Ooh.
Well, that's one of the top fives, hey
Question.
Tom? Maybe we'll save that for later.
No, that's
Okay.
It's good. Okay.
Just-
yeah,
just one-
favorite
just-
parkour video.
favorite
just one.
parkour
Or
video.
movie.
Should clip.
It's hard to say. There's so many good ones.
Oh, there's so-
I think honestly just like the Spitting in the Wind series, like by Modus,
Oh
I
yeah.
just think was just super well done. And it's something I always like pictured myself wanting to do. Like we've always had the idea of doing like almost like a skate tape type series.
Right.
And I just like that it was a series too. Like they got up to so much and they put it together so well. It was just really fun to follow along with that one. I think of
Yeah.
that one often.
Yeah, I remember that one, and you're right. It is like a skate series, and I think that's what got me kind of hooked a little bit more into parkour because, like, I used to watch skate videos when I was younger too, and we'd just be glued to that screen watching
Right?
how they do that. You know,
Yeah.
rewind, how they rewind. You know, like,
Totally. Yeah. And that's the kind of content like personally I'd like to make like for Podi or whatever. So that definitely like vibed with me a lot because it's the style that I like to see.
right
So,
on, cool. I can't wait to see what you get up to.
yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to go back and watch all those again. It's been a
Right?
few years, eh?
Yeah, it's been a while.
Classics.
Yeah, maybe give Soul Destroyer another watch too. That's always a good one.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
oh,
Soul Destroyer is
so
fantastic.
impressive. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, someone in Canada has to make a good series like that. So
Yeah.
you guys got to do it. No pressure.
All right.
Netflix
I haven't
Canada.
picked up my camera for like 2 years. Oh my gosh.
So getting back to Calgary community a bit, how did Breathe really come about? Since you guys trained at a different gym before.
Yeah. So if I got my facts straight, the old gym is No Limits, and Matt, who is the owner of Breathe, I think they took over management of that gym, and they also started Breathe. Actually, it was a parkour magazine.
Right.
Oh,
So through working at that gym, they were working on their magazine, and then it kind of worked out that once that gym went under, Breathe was ready to open their own. And it was just kind of like a natural progression, I guess, from working in a parkour gym and having a parkour magazine to just owning a parkour gym. So that's when the North location first opened. We basically all found out with like, I think it was like 3 days notice that we lost our jobs at that first gym. And then Breathe was like, cool, we're ready to open in a month. So we're like, sweet, we got jobs in a month.
Yeah.
So we ended up just helping set up the Breathe North location and planning and designing it. So we all from the beginning, I guess not, I say we all, but it wasn't all of Podi, but like me and Rare, Mike and Ben were all teachers at Breathe North for a long while. I was with Breathe for 5 years. The first couple were at North, and then I switched over to South because it was closer to home.
Oh, neato.
Yeah, we kind of helped build that whole first location, which was really cool. Which is actually technically that first location is gone now, because in the facility they're in, there was 2 sides, and then with a basketball court in the middle.
Yeah.
And the one side was Breathe, the other side was just another like regular old workout gym. And Breathe has actually moved to that other side now and taken over that space.
Yeah.
So that
bigger and
original
better.
gym is actually gone, which is it's kind of crazy. We've gone through, I guess, like 3 gyms now in Calgary.
Wow.
Think about it. That first gym, the original Breathe North, and then Breathe South have all evolved into something different.
That's very good though. It looks like a great gym. I'm sure it's gonna.
It's pretty cool. Very happy with how it goes, and we've learned a lot because Mike does all the designing of the Breathe gyms, and he has learned a lot from our like initial plans. Like for North, we were like, let's have a huge foam pit. It'll be great. We've never had a foam pit before. Bad idea. We had a giant ass foam pit, which was cool, but it was right in the middle of the entire gym with 8-foot walls on all sides. I don't know why we thought that was a good idea, but we did it anyways. But then we learned a lot from that, so we made the South gym. Mike did a great job designing South, but even from South, there's a lot of things he learned that he was able to implement into the new North location. So I think the current location we have right now is like probably the best we've had.
Whereabouts is it? I know Calgary pretty well.
It's in the northwest, right by Marlborough Mall.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So on the other side of the train line from Marlborough Mall, there's like that Home Depot.
Yeah.
Just in behind that in a big building.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, I used to live in behind Marlborough.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, cool. Neat.
So it's right there.
Huh. That's dang.
If only it was there how long ago, hey?
Right?
I can't even. I'm not even gonna say how long. Really, I'm not. Like 10, 15 years ago.
Getting a gym too. How did you notice a shift at all in the community? Like, did more people start coming out, or did outdoor jams get smaller? Like, how did that shift work there?
When we first had Breathe Open, the community definitely grew a lot.
Good.
Yeah.
Which was sweet. And there's tons of people that were training for a while there. Once the gym split into two, like I said, the community kind of got divided.
Mm-hmm.
And I gotta choose my words wisely here. I don't want to be shady at Breathe or anything. Breathe is very business focused, which is fair because you got to be to run a business as a parkour gym, right? Like that's a hard thing to do. Parkour is not a very big sport, so there's a lot of really young kids that go to Breathe, and they very much market towards younger kids, which makes sense. But a lot of these kids just see it as this is the class they go to, and that's it. So it we don't have tons of people that actually come out to just do parkour and they see it as a community thing and come out to jams. Of course, I've been on the outside of it for a little while here, so I'm not sure what the jams are like. But from when I was last kind of in on things, the community was kind of shrinking a bit. You know, we were getting older. People were stuck in school. They were working full-time jobs, so we didn't have as much free time to train anymore. But we do have quite a few like regulars and a couple. We have a couple dads that train consistently and stuff, which is super cool.
Nice.
And again, with South Breathe closing and North Breathe becoming just the only location again, it'll be really fun to kind of build that community up again. And as far as I know, the staff at Breathe currently have been doing a really good job keeping things going and properly training their classes and stuff since I've been gone, at least, which is good. Because I know for myself with teaching, I wasn't very good at implementing the important calisthenics stuff and the strength training. I just didn't have a mindset for that. The current staff are really good at adding that stuff into their classes. There's a lot of great value coming out of there, which is awesome.
That's it's definitely the hard part, hey, of going from a kind of a formal teaching setting and then integrating this younger generation or new athletes to the community aspect. It's not a smooth or obvious transition, hey?
Yeah.
Some people do, but will come through and then they're at regular outdoor jams, but a lot of people don't.
Right.
Yeah. Right. And it's hard to teach the community aspect of things.
Yeah.
You can teach the skills, you can have fun in your class, but a lot of people don't realize that there's more to parkour than just going to the gym and doing your lessons.
Yeah.
Which it's hard to show people that, especially when they're younger people too, because a younger person that's a little more inexperienced might go to a jam and see people doing crazy stuff and just be like, well, I'm just going to stick to my classes because I don't know what any of those movements are. Right.
Right.
Yeah. It's a tricky thing.
Yeah. Then we get these they call them next gen PK, three of them that just took parkour and they're the right kids to run with it. They're just going for everything. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's It's great.
And with Ben and Tyrion, like for and Rylan for teachers, you know, like and Jill, like just holy cow, like these kids are gonna be great. Give like 3 or 4 years, right? Like they're good now.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, but it definitely takes a different kind of nurturing and a different amount of focus than just teaching does. Which I think with both the gyms being split, we had to focus just on the business side of things. Because we had 2 locations to fill with staff, to manage clients, to keep running and operational. So it was harder to focus on just that community stuff as well.
Yeah.
But now that it's just one location, less to worry about, we can put a lot more effort into that community side of things.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Which is good. And I'd love to be a part of that. Like, I know I've been away from Breathe for a while, and I don't want to just jump back in and be like, hey guys, haven't seen you for a long time, but here I am. But that was always my favorite part. And like, you know, like I did Sunday jams for years, and we did our competitions through PODI Dupe Jam for, I think we did 4 years in a row.
Right on.
And that was definitely my favorite part of it, was just like kind of fostering the community, and I definitely miss that about parkour. Really want to get back into that side of things too.
That's like a staple Canadian parkour event, you know.
Yeah, right.
Dupe Jam, you know, we gotta go.
Didn't have a chance.
Yeah,
we all went. I had to stay for some other reason, but that would have been a fun time to go with you.
Yeah,
that's a good one. I mean, it's such a good spot. You know, I mean, it was a solid 14-hour drive for us, but you know, good place for everyone to meet up.
Totally.
Great downtown parkour
definitely
too.
Miss doing Dupe Jam for sure.
You can have a revival in 20 years when everyone's old.
Yeah, right. Like, all right, everybody, meet in Calgary for this summer, and we'll try and jump on some things.
Yeah. Bring your walkers and your.
Yeah.
Hey, Brodie, are you going to continue on in competition, or are you just like I noticed that on your Instagram, like you've done a couple competitions, or is that something that, I know you mentioned your knees earlier, but besides that, like, is that something that's up your alley, or?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I have mixed feelings about doing competitions. I love the idea of competitions. Like, I think it's a really fun thing. But I always found myself just getting too nervous about it for no reason. Like, I wanted it to just be a fun thing to do. So the last like big competition I entered in was NAPC.
Yeah.
I can't remember what year it was, but I landed like a double B twist on concrete after like tweaking my ankle, which is like huge accomplishment. I think I did like super well in the competition, and I think that was kind of enough. I was like, I got to a point where I was solid enough to compete at a pretty decent level in a fairly high-end parkour competition.
Mm-hmm.
I should say fairly high-end. It is very high-end.
It's really
high-end.
And I think I'm cool with that. Like, if I don't compete in the future, then that's totally fine with me. If I do, it'll probably just be a fun little thing to do, like just to try out the skill comp or just see how I do.
That's what I love about it.
Yeah, I think the main focus for me is just going to be just getting my techniques down.
Good.
Like, I don't care if I get back to being able to doing like 10.5-foot standing jumps or anything. I just want to have really solid technique and being able to do like just nice, smooth, flowy movement.
Yeah, that's where it's at. Cool, thanks.
Yeah, no worries.
Speaking of competitions, do you think those should keep getting pushed more? Do you think that's where the future of parkour lies?
It's a very good competition. I think competition's a good thing in the right hands, because most people that do parkour understand that it is very much an individual thing. So like when it comes to competition, it's not always like nobody gets mad that they didn't place first. Like, yeah, you could be like, oh man, I gotta improve and work better, but like you don't look at the guy in first and be like, oh, you suck, I'm pissed at you because I got second, right? There's that animosity just isn't there in parkour.
You're right.
I
feel that. Yeah, you're right.
That's because these competitions are run by the parkour community and the people that like know what's up. So if it gets into the hands where it's like just some dude that puts on events deciding he can run a parkour competition and inviting people out, I don't think that's the way things need to go. It needs to like stay in the hands of the people that know parkour and know the community. But competition is a great way for those higher end athletes to like make a living off parkour. Like there still isn't tons of super great ways to make a living off parkour. Like you can, but it's like owning a gym or winning competitions or somehow making it big on the internet. Like
Right. Yeah. Somehow.
it's still a tricky thing, but competitions will bring in, like if they keep going, they'll bring in sponsorships and eventually maybe brands can sponsor athletes, like very much like skateboarding. Like
Right.
they do like the street league for skateboarding every year, and that's like the biggest competitions, and athletes will represent their brand and they're sponsored by that brand. They get paid by that brand to skateboard, which is something that's like slowly happening in parkour. Like Modus kind of does that. I mean, of course, I'm not sure the details on how their athletes get paid or if they get paid or whatever, but that's something that could happen. And I think competition is probably a good way to push towards that.
Yeah.
Because competition brings in viewers and viewers bring in money, right?
Yeah. I guess that's really cool. I don't know if you saw Store actually recently said they're gonna double someone's prize money if they wear their new Store stuff at a competition.
Oh, that's awesome.
Did you see that?
No, I didn't see that. That's cool.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's like a parkour company right there.
Yeah.
Actually, like in a way, sponsoring
Totally.
an athlete.
Right? And that could only just progress. Like right now, a lot of the main brands are the teams themselves. Like Farang is a team, Store is a team, Modus is a team. But I imagine it'll get to a point where there's a brand that doesn't have a team that puts a team together. Right? Like if Nike has like the Nike skateboarding brand, what if they start like a Nike parkour brand and they bring on athletes as their athletes, right?
Just hire the best, hand out those millions and get the
But competitions just brings more eyes to the sport and just I think helps it grow, right? It's just, of course, got to be done correctly. Like Store, I guess, is a perfect example of how to grow parkour properly through like social media and stuff. Because you see tons of parkour related content, but it's like Minecraft parkour, Fortnite parkour. Like I was watching a video about Monster Hunter, which is a game where you hunt monsters. And the guy's like, just do the parkour move over here. And I was like, what? That's, excuse me? But then you see Store's content. They have like 7 million subscribers and they're doing parkour.
Yeah.
So they're doing it the correct way, whereas Minecraft is doing it the wrong way. So competition has to stay in that same vein. It's got to be done the correct way, or else it could potentially hurt the sport, right?
Yeah.
That's gonna, and so many options too with competition, like the traditional, speed, skill, style stuff. But then you get into World Chase Tag, which basically high level parkour, right?
It's cool.
Yeah, which World Chase Tag is a good example of how to progress parkour in a competition, right? They're taking it and changing it in a way that appeals to the masses, to the muggles that don't understand parkour. And they're like, oh, it's tag, but they're just really good at moving around their environments. I get it now, right?
Yeah.
So that's a super good evolution of parkour. And I don't know tons about it, but as far as I know, is like it's a lot of parkour athletes doing it. And they are recognized as parkour athletes while they're doing it. Right? It's not like those what's that show, American Gladiator or whatever. They have all like the obstacles and stuff. Or I guess Ninja Warrior is a good example. It's like they have parkour athletes on there, but they aren't always highlighted as parkour athletes. It'll be like, oh, he does parkour on the side, and they show backflips.
Yeah.
You know? It's like, that's parkour, but there's a lot more to it than that. That community we talk about, right? Like that's such a huge part of parkour. Like skateboarding culture. You see skateboarding culture. People understand skateboarding culture. They don't just see a person riding a board and they're like, okay, yeah, I get it. That's skateboarding. That's not all there is to it. And people know that. But parkour people don't know that about parkour yet, for the most part. They don't understand that there's that whole unique culture behind it. And I think that's something that, I don't know how, but that's something that should be a more apparent thing to the general public. And again, Store does a great job of that, right? They show in their videos that behind the scenes culture of it, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, they do.
it's just a breakdown of challenges working on these progressions.
Right? Yeah.
It's very,
Just the attitude, the mindset, like
it honestly is a very difficult thing to actually get across.
it is. It really is.
Like
Yeah.
if you see a good video store, I mean, they do it pretty much every week somehow.
Yeah.
But you know, to make a video of like what it's like to do parkour,
Mhm.
it's a
Yeah, it's a
well,
tough concept.
I mean, even to describe parkour, you know, just to define it is tricky itself, right? Like a lot of people, it's like all on who you ask.
Yeah, right. And it's just kind of the nature of it, right? It's such a free form activity that it really can be anything you want it to be, right? Like someone could do just precision jumps and be like, yeah, this is parkour. And it is. They're
Yeah.
doing jumps,
Yeah.
right? It's
Totally
it's
is.
just
Yeah.
free movement. So it's hard to kind of put it in a box that's understandable.
Yeah.
It's almost like someone's got to figure out a way to market it in a way that makes sense, and
Right.
then have people explore like the outer reaches of what parkour actually is.
I love what you
That's
just
Yeah.
said there.
something to do.
It's like it doesn't have it doesn't have a box next to
No.
it for check. Like it's just
It,
it's
It's like-
more than just that term parkour.
yeah, like parkour is the definition of like think outside the box. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
I just love that. That's awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, good
It's
definition.
moved well beyond the point A to point B definition.
Mhm.
It's too confusing now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
well, it's got too popular.
Well, and especially when you see like, you know, you see pure parkour and stuff and just the efficient movement, and then you see people like Josh Malone, who's doing all these like extremely unique, technical, and like just bizarre looking
Yeah.
tricks.
Yeah.
You know, if someone were to see that and be like, oh yeah, this is parkour, they'd be like, what the hell is he even doing? I don't understand. It's like
Yeah.
I guess
Yeah.
back to the skateboarding thing. You see a kickflip and you understand a kickflip. You see a dolphin flip to nose slide and you're like, what the hell was that even? I'm
Yeah.
checking out. I don't get it. I'm
Yeah,
moving
you're
on,
right.
right? But
Yeah,
at
I
least with
see what
that,
you're doing.
there's that constant of that skateboard.
Yes.
So you see that. You don't understand the
Yeah.
trick, but you know it's skateboarding. But parkour,
Yeah.
you might see some crazy triple spin, hand
Right.
touch, 1 foot landing, and you're like, well, I don't even know what that is. Is that
Yeah.
parkour? Is that gymnastics? Is this guy
Right.
just throwing himself off a ledge? I don't know.
Yeah.
It
That
kinda-
constant is there, right?
This
It's
breaks
almost-
our definitions.
Yeah, it's almost like the piece of equipment is the thing that's doing it, not you. But in parkour, it's like you're not the equipment doing it. You
Right.
know?
It's like,
Yeah.
well, he's got shoes in that clip and he's got shoes in that clip. Is they both parkour? Like,
Yeah.
I guess.
What has a deck? You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's good. I like that a lot. Uh-oh. What are
Tell
you
us
doing?
about your gaming.
My gaming. Oh
Your
boy.
gaming.
There we go.
I love
Gaming.
gaming, so
So over the break, I started streaming on Twitch, which has been pretty fun. And I started really leaning hard into my YouTube channel, my gaming channel, which I've had for years, and I just love talking about video games. And I don't always have like the same gaming interests as my friends do. So initially, I started it just kind of as a way to just be able to talk about it. But I think making gaming videos and making videos specifically is just a culmination of everything I've kind of learned actually like through parkour, with like video editing and shooting, and even with teaching and like how to talk and like,
Mm.
you know, use I call it my YouTube voice.
Let's hear it.
Yeah.
And a hobby that's gaming, and just putting it all together into one thing, which is just making gaming content. And it's super fun, and it's like I've realized what I want to do. Like I've gone so many years where I'm like, I don't know what I want to do. Should I go back to school? Should I not? Like, should I just like go get an office job? I don't know. And even just through this like last quarantine I was on, which was like 6 months, I was like, this is what I want to do. Like I'm good at making these videos. I
Yeah.
love video games. And this is just, it's fun. Like I would do this every day for the rest of my life, 100%.
Cool.
It's not
Sick.
the easiest path, making
No, it's
money
not.
on
But
YouTube,
can do
but
it.
I think I could do it. And it
Yeah.
might take some time, but it's just fun. It's just a
Bro-
culmination of everything I've learned, right?
Brodie, let me hear your YouTube voice.
I've more or less been using it this whole time.
It's so funny.
It's hard to do if I'm not like reading a script out.
Oh,
My
yeah.
friend
But
has a DJ voice.
Yeah,
He does
even
the
like
exact same thing.
streaming, I'm just like casually talking and stuff, right?
Right.
And then I have like so on Twitch you can get rated. So when someone finishes their stream, they send all their viewers over to your stream.
Oh,
Like pops up, it's a raid. Everyone sends like, oh, it's a raid. So I have a raid video that plays because I'm awful at explaining what my channel's all about in the
Yeah.
moment. So I just made a little video,
yeah.
and I have a little
Plug it
character
in.
that pops up. He's got like my logo on him, and I am basically talking my YouTube voice and be like, "Whoa, you sound so different in that from your stream." Like, yeah,
That's
I'm like
great.
trying. I'm not just like shooting the shit. You know?
Yeah.
I love it.
enunciating
Good
my
for you.
words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, is there one game in particular that you like to stream, or are you kind of over the place, all over the place with it, or
I'm
bit
a
of this, bit of
little
that?
all over the place with it. I consistently play Zelda games.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
Specifically because, like, for the longest time, The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker has been my favorite game. And I was thinking, I was like, I haven't played a lot of these games since I was younger, and I've played through a lot of them just the one time. Whereas I played through Wind Waker, like, I think the last time I played was my 7th time.
Wow.
So I was like, man, I want to try and play these games again and see if like this one really is my favorite. And I was like, that works perfectly. I can make a video on each one and write it out,
cheat the
dissect it,
system.
and really think about if these are my favorite games. So I get content out of it. I get to play the games again, and I get to figure out if Wind Waker truly is my favorite Zelda game or not. So I do a lot of Zelda. I've found a new joy in horror games, which I never
Oh.
really played before. But playing horror
what?
games on stream is super fun. There's
Like
one
name
called
a game that's a yeah.
there's one called Visage, which is probably the
What?
scariest game I've ever played in my life.
Really? I don't know.
Huh.
Yeah, you're basically just in this house, all these creepy noises and stuff going along, and you can find different items that start different storylines. So there's one that has this dude on crutches that like chases you around, and I played that one
That's
first.
scary.
And I
That's
was like,
totally scary.
I was
Holy
like, that's scary, but like not so scary. It's just some
Uh,
dude like.
Is it like
whatever.
Oculus and the shock suit and all
No,
that?
but there's another storyline with this grandma.
Oh!
Her head like glitches out and she makes these weird ass sounds. And there's one point where it was the most subtle thing. The people on stream didn't even see it because it was so subtle. But I was on edge already from everything else happening. And I turn a corner and it's just her head peeking out. And I like freaked out. I like threw my mouse away and I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And everybody's like, what? What happened? I don't know what happened. And just that moment, I was like, man, this is so fun. Like just having the people in chat reacting to what I'm reacting to. It's a little less scary because I feel like I've got people with me.
Yeah.
So I've
I don't
really
know.
been enjoying playing horror games a lot. It's been super fun.
You know what, Brodie? The game that got me off of games was the Ocarina of Time and
Yeah.
Majora's Mask, and
Yeah.
I gave it a lot of my time, let me tell you, and it burnt me out to this day. So I'm afraid when like these parkour games are gonna come back, because like, am I gonna get burnt out again? Are they gonna
Yeah.
fry me again? Like, am I gonna spend 29 hours a day on this game?
Right. Speaking of parkour games, though, I'm very excited to see what happens with Stora's parkour game.
That's what I'm talking about.
It's like that's a huge thing. We were talking a little bit about like Minecraft parkour and stuff, and
Yeah.
I actually have a video on my channel about parkour and how it's viewed within like the gaming sphere of things,
Okay.
which is a very wrong definition, I guess, of parkour. Like I know we talked about parkour; it's hard to define, but it's very much not just jumping from block to block in Minecraft. Whereas
Right.
you Google parkour and some of the top Google results are Minecraft parkour, Minecraft parkour, Minecraft parkour, which like isn't the worst thing. A bunch of these little kids are aware of what parkour is,
Do that right
but they don't really know what it is.
Yeah.
They know it exists, they just don't know what it is. So it can, in a way, hurt the image of parkour, but games like, Stora's Pro Parkour or whatever they're calling it could be a really good way to start changing people's opinion on what like a parkour game is. Because right now it's very much, oh, you have advanced movement mechanics in your game, like getting over a ledge, running across walls. That's a parkour game. Whereas technically, yes, there's parkour movement in it. But like we've said, parkour is more than just the movement. It's the community. It's the attitude. It's the training that goes into it. So I'm really hoping the Sora Parkour Pro game can shed light on that and really introduce gamers, I guess, into what parkour actually is.
Yeah. I mean, in a way, you could actually simulate that by having multiplayer, right? Like, you could be in the same area with your friends.
Oh, sick!
Right?
Trying these things in a game. And if you're, good enough, you could go over there in real life and actually do it.
Totally.
Like, how awesome is that?
Have they mentioned what unit they're gonna have it on?
I
think
think
everything.
they have, but probably
really?
everything.
Oh no! Say goodbye, Christy.
They're just gonna have to like release a bunch of DLC of people's local spots, like
Right? That'd be
so you don't just have to be in London to train at a location in a game and then go do it.
Right? Yeah, it's exciting. I think it's in the right hands with Sora too.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it would turn out very well if it was just some company like, let's try and make a parkour game, right?
Well,
same like we talked about with competition, right? It's got to be in the right hands for it to actually help out the sport.
Then it just turns into a Mirror's Edge, right? And then suddenly you're fighting people and shooting people.
Right.
And parkour is enough. It can be just a parkour game.
You don't need to put ammo.
It's one of the points I make in my video about it. I was like, this isn't parkour. We don't use guns in parkour.
Can you imagine like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater? Just like you have to go like shoot a guard.
Yeah. Kickflip.
No, it's not skateboarding.
Shoot a guard.
Yeah.
Skateboard away. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
I'm
there's
really excited for that though.
There's room for exaggeration on it, I think. Like, if in the Sora Parkour Pro game you did a roof mission and had to run from a security guard or something, like that isn't typically something we do in parkour, but like it's just a fun exaggeration of what we do.
True.
Yeah.
I think there's definitely room for that and like having a tiny bit of a parody aspect to it. Just because it's a video game, right? You want it to be fun. If they made a parkour game that was purely just parkour built into like gaming mechanics, it probably wouldn't be that fun. Like depending on how deep you get into it, but there has to be the right amount. Like you can have it super simple: press square to vault, press circle to flip, but that's gonna get stale pretty fast. But then if you have it super complicated, like press R1 and R2 to land each foot and press the other triggers to balance, like, that might be too much.
Whole game just turns into like co-op, of like
co-op with parkour, exactly. So I think there needs to be a good balance of legitimate mechanics and a good balance of kind of more for fun, goofy stuff.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean it is a big aspect of parkour, right? Like having whole things of trying to make parkour videos.
Totally.
Like that's a whole other aspect of the
totally
game.
like that could be even something cool to add into that game, like have different challenges where you have to shoot a line, and it'll give you like an area you got to shoot your line. You make up your little line, and as you do it, a cameraman records you. Like that
ear in your mouth or something like that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That'd be super cool.
Wow.
POV,
in-game
POV parkour video.
Right?
Ooh, that's
really interesting to see what they come up with.
That's really deep, actually.
With enough photorealism, people might not be able to tell the difference.
Yeah, I wonder if they can put different avatars in that game. That'd be really neat.
I think they're gonna have different like athletes and stuff in it as like
bird
playable
people
characters.
or something.
Or you can unlock an alien to play as.
Right, there you go. That's what I'm talking about.
That's the perfect kind of like goofy stuff to add in, right?
They're gonna do something fun with
Play
that.
as the
I hope they
Sasquatch.
do. Yeah, something fun like that. I'm sure they will. That'd be great.
Yeah, totally.
They gotta do a throwback like the old Sebastian Foucault video of being chased by a chicken.
Right?
Like, see? They could be funny like that too,
Gig
Totally.
the chicken.
There he is.
Cool. So video games, yeah. Are you into like shooters at all? Are you a Fortnite player?
Yeah.
You know, I
Or
am now.
Modern
I have
Warfare?
to admit. I did not play shooters growing up. But because of this quarantine break, it was a good way to start playing with my friends.
Mm.
Because a lot of them do play shooters. So I started playing a bit of like Valorant, a little bit of Apex,
Mm.
and I started playing Fortnite like a year or so ago, just with my nephew, because he always wanted me to play. So I was like, okay, I'll play with you. And it slowly grew on me a little bit. And then through Twitch, I met a bunch of really cool people that all started playing Fortnite like religiously. So I started playing with them a bit more here and there just to play with my friends. And now I'm like, okay, Fortnite's pretty fun.
It
Cool.
is.
That's pretty fun. I'm not a huge fan of the community around it, I guess, or like the whole memery of it. Like
Right.
Gotcha.
every dance move in there is from TikTok. But as an actual game, like it's a solid game. Like it is
Yeah.
really enjoyable.
It's easy to pick up.
Yeah,
Pretty
definitely.
simple. Everything's simplified.
Yeah. I'm just
Uh,
not good at building.
Oh man, that's the worst.
Yeah, you're like
Shooting at someone, then there's a tower suddenly in front of you.
exactly. You're like, cool, 5 people left. I could win this one, and then there's an 8-foot tower or a 8-story tower in the way. And you're like, okay, well, never mind. Just take me now. It's over.
Yeah, yeah. Too bad you can't just dig down and just quit.
Yeah.
Just dig,
Yeah.
dig
Go
a hole.
somewhere else. The other side of
Fine,
the
you're
world.
going up. I'm going down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why not? That's a good hack.
Yeah. Right. But yeah. So I'm getting a little more into shooters, and I definitely prefer them on mouse and keyboard. I cannot do shooters on controller.
Oh,
so
yeah. Mouse and keyboard is like cheating.
I mean, a little bit.
I've been personally, I've been getting back into Halo
Oh,
recently,
nice.
Oh, no,
Cool.
Tom.
and that's on the Xbox with a controller, but you can cross-platform with PC,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
and PC
Oh.
players
Yep.
dominate.
Yeah.
They dominate. It's because mouse and keyboard is cheating.
Yeah. It's just it's
That's
so much
awesome.
easier to aim. I just was never able to do. Well, like I said, I never grew up playing shooters.
Yeah.
So my experience with shooters started on mouse and keyboard. Because I know a bunch of friends that are like, I could never play
Yeah.
with a mouse just because they grew up playing controller. But when it comes to
Yeah.
games like Dark Souls or Monster Hunter, for example, playing on a mouse and keyboard, no bueno. It's got to be a controller for that one.
Oh
'Cause
yeah.
that's how I'm hardwired. Because that's how I grew up playing them, right?
Yeah.
Just what you're used to.
Yeah.
You know what? I got a curious question. What was your favorite arcade game? Did you ever get into arcades when you were a youth? Like, did you have a spot where you went to go and?
I didn't really, but I do remember the arcade at the movie theater and going
Yeah.
there all the time. And I actually looked this up the other day. It's a game called Virtua Fighter, Virtua
Oh yeah.
Robo or something. And it was this robot game with these 2 controllers that you had to move back and forth and like pull one forward and back to turn.
Oh, I don't
And I remember playing that all the time and wanting to play that every time I went to the arcade.
Cool.
And like just trying to get to the 10th fight to like finish it. And I just thought that was like the coolest, most intense thing as a kid. So
Yeah,
that was like
arcade-
definitely one of my earliest like video game memories playing
Because
that.
a lot of people are like controller, and I think this is me. Hey, controller. I think of like the big.
Oh, like
Joystick.
the joystick and button. Like a classic like Street Fighter fight pad.
Yeah.
Have like the
Yeah, just
arcade style
combos up,
pads
down,
for
and-
it. Yeah.
Street Fighter, totally. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Anything I remember from arcades is just like
Yeah.
getting on like the motorcycle and just crashing it immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
those
Just turn way too much. You have no control.
Yeah.
I can do it. I can do it. I'm just a kid.
Feet can't touch the ground.
Yeah.
We've got a couple arcade games at our work because we have like our little entertainment area
Really?
just
Yeah.
beside all the trampolines, and there's a
What do you
little
have?
race car game that the kids sit on all the time. They're all like knockoff
Yeah.
cheapo games.
No, I hear you. Yeah.
Just because the supplier we had, I think for some reason they stopped working with us. Some weird stuff happened, so we have some other
Sure.
supplier, and they're all just knockoff games now. But I always see little kids on that bike just wobbling back and forth,
Yeah.
not actually playing the game, just having the time of their lives.
I rode a bike today.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
I love arcades.
Yeah, arcades are cool. There was just never really a big arcade here that I know of, at least.
Just at
It
the
was just
theater.
always at the theater. And they would have like a handful of games, but there wasn't anything
Yeah.
too crazy.
Okay. I think we can move on to some top fives here.
No,
Oof.
right
Good for
on.
that?
Try my
Yeah.
best.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll start with your top five athletes that, you know, inspire you or you just like to watch.
For sure. Top of athletes. All right. So I've always had a hard time keeping up with all the athletes and stuff.
Yeah.
Josh Malone is definitely one though. Just
Mm-hmm.
extremely unique movement. I've always loved Zen Shimada.
Oh yeah.
Again, just stuff that you don't typically see, like those weird movements that you look at and you're like, what was that even? I want to learn that. I love that kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
You
Yeah.
can't understand it right away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And along with that are PODI's very own Josh and Jovi.
Yeah.
I love watching those guys move, and they kind of fit in that same vein of things with that unique movement. Just
Yeah.
that stuff that the average person wouldn't think of. Right?
Oh
That's,
yeah.
Yeah, that style. Yeah.
I don't know who I've got for a fifth. I think that's probably a top four.
Yeah.
Cool. We'll take it.
Yeah.
All right then. We'll go on to your top five places that you either want to train at or that you have trained at.
Gotcha. Okay.
So anything really.
It's unfortunately gone, but the
Oh.
Missoula gym
Oh.
Missoula was one
yeah.
of my favorite cities to go visit. I love the community down there. And their gym that they had there, I think it was their second gym because they had to move locations, so they rebuilt.
Right.
That was an incredible space. It was just so well designed. There was so much packed into such like a small space. Not that it was that small, but like it was just
Yeah.
very well designed. And I loved training there.
Cool.
And also, I guess for the second place in Missoula is whatever college they have there. There's a lot of just good little spaces in that college that I just have fond memories of training at. I'd love to go back
Yeah.
there to look at it again. Number 3 was the old Century Gardens. The new Century Gardens, like I said, that's our big spot that we have here. It's been rebuilt. I think there's a lot of like glass railings and stuff now, and
Oh.
all the walkways or all the landing spaces are filled with like plants and stuff now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was like a treasure trove of parkour. Like we went there and trained consistently for probably a good 5 years before it got taken down. And every single time we went, we found something brand new to do, something
Oh,
we
I
never
love
thought
that.
of before, which is wild. And it was like, um, at least like a Canada-wide known spot for a
Yes.
lot of
Yeah,
people.
for sure.
Like, tons of people knew about that spot. It was just such a great place. We hosted a competition there at one point.
No. Oh,
Like,
cool.
oh, it was awesome. I think actually it was the competition we did before Dupe Jam.
Oh.
We were doing PK AB, and we did it there. But then it was too hard with permits and stuff, so we did Dupe Jam the next year in the gym instead. But that was a fantastic spot. I love that
Neat.
spot. Number 4 would have to be Origins. I think Origins is just again a super well designed gym. Fond memories there of NAPC, and it's going to be my new home gym soon.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to get out there
Yeah.
and see what updates they've added and explore that space again. And then finally would just be Breathe. Breathe was home.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
is home. It has been so many years. Breathe South specifically. I worked there for so long. We trained there for so long. I was a big part of that space. So yeah, definitely enjoyed
Yeah.
that gym a lot. Very upset it's gone, but
Yeah.
moving on
That
to new things is good too.
that was I guess I'd been to the second Monkey Vault location, like in Toronto, before. That was always a good space, but yeah, I went to Breathe South after, and that was like, I mean, just the space was so big,
Yeah.
and there's so much in there. It's like, this is a legit, like,
I
just
know.
parkour playground.
Yeah.
There's so much.
Yeah.
Almost too intimidating walking in there. You gotta catch your breath.
Right?
Seriously, like you
Yeah.
gasp for breath. And you're like,
Where
someone
do I
built this
start?
beautiful thing.
Yeah,
It was great.
biggest
Yeah.
days.
It's been really awesome to see the changes in Canada parkour over the last 15 years or whatever now.
Mm.
Like to go from no one knowing what parkour is to two gyms, or I guess there's still two in Alberta,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, Monkey Vault growing, Origin's getting bigger. Like
Mm.
I
Yeah.
still have to go to Origins. I actually might be able to get out there this summer if
Nice. It's
if,
definitely a
if
cool
restrictions
space.
don't change.
Yeah, right.
What
Ugh,
the heck?
we'll see what happens, I guess.
Yeah, it's I'm excited for the future here. Hope people keep getting more spaces, keeps
Mhm.
getting
Great.
bigger and better.
Totally.
Yeah. mean-
And I think NAPC is such a great thing for like Canada parkour too,
Yeah.
because it's one of the biggest parkour competitions in the world, if not the biggest, and it's in Canada. That's
Yeah.
incredible.
It's awesome.
Yeah,
It's so cool.
that is wild. Hey, you'd think like obviously the UK is such a hub, right? Like it
Right?
seems like parkour is like just in the UK, you know.
Right?
But then that the biggest event is in Canada.
Yeah.
Like that's awesome.
Yeah, it's wicked.
Yeah.
I yeah, hope those sport parkour league keeps pushing things and
Mhm.
we get more events like that
Totally.
Oh.
once the world calms down.
Yeah.
It calms down. I like that Taylor Swift song.
Yeah, we're getting there. We're so close.
You need to calm down. All right. Well, if you don't mind, Tom, I love asking this question. It's the sage advice. All right, Brodie. If you were to give a piece of sage advice, somebody new to PK or someone who is wanting to bring their skills to the next level, what would be your advice for that?
Make sure you jump using your butt.
Nice. No one's ever said that before.
But actually, no, is
But.
take care of yourself, like for real. I know so many of like even just my own students. I'd be like, oh, you guys got to make sure you're stretching, and like, or you're gonna regret it. And me as a young student was like, no, I'll be fine. I'm young. I don't need to stretch, and you really do. Like even when you're young. So it's definitely like as fun as parkour is to just jump in, do it, and then go home and not stretch. It's like if you want to do this forever, you have to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
I used to have the dream of being able to backflip at 70 years old, but that's not going to happen if I'm not taking care of my body. It's incredibly important and a lot more important than I think a lot of athletes, if not just younger athletes, know. So, sage advice: use your butt to jump, not just your thighs. Stretch, work all your muscle groups.
Activate them all.
Yeah.
Don't just huck big flips. Work on your basic techniques to build all those other little muscles. Like, yeah.
Really well said.
Thanks.
Yeah. It honestly can't be overstated enough, honestly,
Right?
I think.
Seriously. Yeah.
Like,
I've
do
seen
yourself a favor.
I've seen it in tons of younger kids in parkour as stopping because they get too old or they feel like they're not get too old, sorry. They start getting like pains in their knees because they
Yes.
haven't been stretching and they're getting older, like they're growing, right?
Yeah.
Or kids that just huck the big strong things or crazy things and then lose interest because they never took the time to learn the basics that would help them keep learning the bigger things, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's something that's not so driven into people like the old days when it's like the Yamakazes, like you had to do 10,000 reps of something to,
Yeah, right.
yeah, I believed that.
Yeah.
You don't have to do 10,000, maybe 1,000.
But their training skills out there is just like train,
Yeah.
then throw down a line,
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool. I wouldn't mind going when the world calms down.
Yeah, totally.
All right, then I guess we'll kind of say our fake goodbyes now. And if people want to follow you on, Instagram or Twitch, where can they find you?
So if you want to follow my parkour stuff, it's Brodie Shaw. And if you want to follow any of my gaming stuff, my Twitch stuff, it's Ravioli Spills on everything. So just Ravioli Spills.
Sweet. I'm gonna include that in the description too for
That's
anyone
great. Good
that
one,
wants to
Brody.
follow Brodie and give him a shout, follow his stuff. It's always entertaining.
Yeah. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Hey, we appreciate you. Thanks for coming on. This is
Yeah.
really a good chat, and I like where
Yeah.
you're coming from in your mindset. So I can't
Thanks.
wait to see what you can do in the future.
Yeah. Thanks for having me
Yeah,
on,
man.
guys. It was
Thanks.
great catching up with you.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll be able to see you soon.
Hey,
Yeah,
can you come back on when you settle down in Vancouver and stuff, and have
Oh,
you back on and
Oh,
we'll talk
absolutely.
about your new projects?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Right on.
I think we'll have to have a PODI special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe get a group on.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that off air, but
Yeah.
that could be possible. That'd be great.
Cool. I'm in.
Okay. Awesome. Okay, everyone, thanks for listening. The usual stuff. Like, subscribe, rate us. Do the thing.
Yeah. We want to keep on doing the thing.
Yeah.
All right, we'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye.
Bye-bye.